So yesterday was day one of the CDL Kickoff Classic. It is the start to the CDL season with a little bit of a show tournament just for some fun, just for some fan interactions, just to see how everything is going to work this year. I want to give my thoughts about how I thought the matches went, how the production was, some of the players, just my thoughts in general on it. But before we do that, please subscribe to the channel, hit that bell notification so you don't miss an upload. I upload every day and a lot of it is Call of Duty related. Help get this video pushed out to more people by liking, commenting, sharing the video with a friend. But let's talk about some Call of Duty esports. So I had mentioned in yesterday's video, or maybe the day before's video, that I knew this weekend was going to be the CDL Kickoff Classic, but I actually had no idea that it was going to be a tournament format. From what I can tell, it is a single elimination tournament format. I just thought these were going to be show matches, so I didn't bother making predictions for day one. But now that I know better, I'll make predictions for day two, get my thoughts out there. But just let's recap day one to see how we got to day two, which day two is the day this video is going to be posted. I have the bracket pulled up on my third monitor over here. So the first match on the list was Seattle Surge versus Royal Ravens. The Surge won that match 3-0. Not really a surprise, the Ravens aren't that good. Neither is Seattle, but that's basically a story of bad team beats worst team. Kinda boring, whatever. Moving on. The next match on the list was the Subliners beating the Boston Breach 3-2. This was by far the most exciting match because I watched all the matches. This was the most exciting match. It had the best storyline. Boston tossed Game 5 though. They just basically forgot how to play Call of Duty. Some very interesting things were said on Twitter from the New York camp. Basically everybody on the New York side thought it should have been a 5-0 sweep across the board, that they won all 5 maps. I don't think I was watching the same matches they thought they were playing in, but we will talk more about that later in the video. The next match was the LA Thieves versus the Paris Legion. The Thieves won that 3-1. Paris somehow won a map. Good for them. That's improvement over last season. And then the final match listed is the Florida Mutineers over the LA Guerrillas, 3-1 in terms of Florida. Basically, I think LAG just severely underperformed in this match. They got sent home immediately. Really unfortunate, but heading into tomorrow, Saturday, which is the day this is posted, so today for you guys, it's FaZe versus Seattle. If I picked anybody but FaZe, that would be just a meme. It's FaZe 3-0 for me. The next match is Minnesota versus the Subliners. I'm gonna go with the New York Subliners 3-1 there. The next match is gonna be Optic versus the LA Thieves. I'm an Optic fan. I'm gonna be biased. I'm gonna go Optic over LA Thieves 3-1. I'll give Thieves the control because I don't think Optic has scrimmed control whatsoever. And then the final match listed is the Toronto Ultra versus the Florida Mutineers. That's going to be a close one. I feel like Florida impressed a lot of people with the way they played against LAG, but at the same time, I think LAG severely underperformed. I'm going to go Toronto Ultra in that one 3-2. I think it's going to be a map 5. I think it's going to come down to a really close map 5 S&D, but honestly, I just, if we're getting the same Toronto we got last season, I just don't see how they lose this match, but I do feel like people are underestimating Florida quite a bit. So one more time, FaZe 3 over Seattle, New York 3-1 over Minnesota, Optic 3-1 over LAT, and then Toronto 3-2 over Florida. Those are my picks for day two. If I'm right, pat me on the back. If I'm wrong, roast me in the comments section and call me an Optic fanboy, because that's basically what all this is going to devolve down to anyway. So my thoughts on the matches and how they went. Like I said, that guy thought he had something going for him. There's not really a lot to unpack with the LAG match. I really think the LAG just underperformed against Florida. I do want to give Florida credit because people were kind of memeing them. They're like, oh, they're the 11th ranked team on the list. It's like, that's like basically a different roster than last season. It's literally a different game. You can't compare how people did in Cold War to how people are going to do in this game because this game is nothing like Cold War. So I do want to give Florida a little bit more credit than the people at Twitter were giving them. But at one point, Slasher and Gunless had a combined KD of like 0.43 or some shit, so LAG definitely underperformed. But like I said, there's not really a lot to unpack with that match, so we're just not gonna bother unpacking a lot. Heading on to the next match that I want to talk about, just because, again, there's not really a lot to unpack with this match. The next match we're going to talk about real quick, it's just going to be the LA Thieves versus the Paris match. If you guys follow me on Twitter, if you guys have been in any of my videos, if you watched any of the podcast episodes last year whenever I uploaded those, you know how I feel about the Paris Legion from a business standpoint. And unfortunately, their business practices reflect their rosters because they don't put a lot of effort into basically anything they do. So their roster basically just got smacked. I honestly thought it was going to be a 3-0. I went to the bathroom and they actually managed to win the control against the Thieves. But honestly, I legitimately just think the LA Thieves should have 3-0'd Paris without much competition. Not to say that the LA Thieves played bad, and at the end of the day, Paris is a pro team, so I have to give them some credit, but at the same time, bro, like, the LA Thieves should have 3-0'd Paris. Which brings us to the next match we're going to talk about real quick just to get it out of the way because, again, not a lot to unpack here. Seattle versus London. I don't have a lot of faith in either of these rosters, so I wasn't really interested in this match. Seattle ended up winning 3-0, I think. Is that what I said in the intro? I'm actually forgetting. My peanut brain can't keep up, but I don't like accuracy as a player, and I don't think the Seattle roster has really a lot to work with. A lot of room to grow or improve, honestly. I kind of feel like they've reached their ceiling. They just kind of got really lucky that they played London, because I don't have faith in London either. I don't think London's team is the best team London could have put out on the out on main stage. I'm going to keep it a buck. I feel like London could have done way, way, way better than with the roster they have. Zero's good. Afro is nasty. The player on the team named Nasty is a good player, or else he wouldn't be in the league. I'm not going to say he's a bad player. I just think there were better options, but I get it. They're the London Royal Ravens. They want to keep that sense of, like, EU, UK players. I get it. It's whatever. Just not what I would have done personally for the roster if I had if I was in charge of any of it. Which, I'm not in charge of any of it, so maybe there's a reason for that. That guy is on high alert. Fantastic. Honestly, the Seattle versus London match, I had basically checked out. I was doing laundry during most of that match, so I don't really know what happened during the games. It's just kind of, it is what it is. I don't have a lot of good things to say about it just because, why would I? But Seattle is moving on in the tournament to play FaZe. Assuming FaZe is 1/20th of the team they were last year, it's going to be a pretty convincing 3-0 in my opinion against Seattle. I just, like I said, I don't have a lot of faith in Seattle's roster. Apologies to any Seattle fans if there are any of you out there listening, if you guys have made your way to my video. Just kind of the way of the road. Weird in my opinion. Which really brings us to the match that's like the only thing worth talking about is the Boston versus New York match. By far the best match of the day. There was a slow start with the hard point. People were clowning Boston on Twitter because they lost the bow cage, like pretty convincingly, honestly. But they bounced back in map 2. Map 2 was very exciting because we saw snipers. Clayster hit some dope shots. Clayster had a sick 1v2. Clayster's probably going to be the reason the snipers get GA'd because he is doing things that 1v2 probably pissed off a lot of people. CDL Intel tweeted out a meme about the GA chat blowing up, and it was a picture of an iPhone iMessage chat being blown up. It's just funny stuff like that. I don't want snipers to get GA'd. I feel like the snipers had a lot of important plays today, and they were really fun to watch, but at the end of the day, it's up to the pro players. If they feel like it isn't balanced, the snipers are gone, sadly. Oh yeah, they also played Control. I don't think anybody on planet Earth that knows what the CDL is thought that they were going to be playing Control for map 3. I feel like most of the pro players like woke up at their hotels, Airbnbs, their houses, apartments, whatever, before they drove out to the stadium, and they had like a text from like a CDL representative saying, oh yeah, by the way, map 3 is Control. Like, I genuinely don't think anybody predicted Control being the third game mode. I certainly didn't. But I'm glad to see Control at least functions. Like, watching the game mode, I didn't necessarily see anything that was wrong with the game mode. The one time they had to reset the map, I think wasn't even a game issue. It was a TeamSpeak issue. TeamSpeak crashed during the Boston-New York match, so I think that was like the one time they had some technical difficulties, and surprisingly, it wasn't on the game's end. At least that I can remember. There might have been other technical difficulties throughout the day, but the only one I can remember is the TeamSpeak crash. The Madman Capsule in map 4 went on like an 8 spree, and I got vocally like excited in the call with the homies I was watching with in the Discord. And like, if I'm actually getting vocally excited about something, you know it was a pretty like hype moment. That man was absolutely melting New York on map 4 whenever he started popping off. Like, actually heading into map 5, Boston just straight up forgot how to play Call of Duty. Unfortunate, because they had a lot going for them. I thought they had momentum heading into map 5, but apparently I'm incorrect. 6 spawn. I think that's really all I have to say about what happened for the actual matches. As far as the production went, like, yeah, production seemed pretty solid. I don't really have any complaints. Casting was on point. The desk, I didn't really pay attention to the desk. I'm gonna keep it a buck. Whenever the matches weren't actively on screen, I kind of tuned out because I had other stuff to do, because, you know, they decided it was gonna be in the middle of a day on Friday, so I tuned out for most of that, but it is what it is. Miles and Chance, world class as always. Lando and Study, pretty good, can't really complain. I do miss Merc and Maven, but the world isn't gonna end. Like I said, there's other casters, the casters were good. However, this game I'm currently playing in is not good. This is borderline, this is dumb. I'm using an automaton for the first time since I made my automaton class setup video. Like, for real, these guys are playing like fucking losers. And I get rocketed. I guess the biggest exciting piece of news from the entire kickoff event is like right before everything went live, they tweeted out, or I guess Adam Apicella tweeted out that he and Esports Engine were going to be working with the CDL this year, which for those of you that don't know, Adam Apicella was the former head of MLG. MLG basically ran every Call of Duty event between the years of 2017 and the end of 2018, which would have been Black Ops 4, and a lot of other matches prior to that. Just MLG Call of Duty events were a different breed. The production was way better. They were more fun from a viewer standpoint. A draw? We tied? We tied. I did not want to tie against these people because these people are just literal scum of the earth, and I'm not happy about that, but it's a pub and I don't really care at the same time. Just a weird place. But yeah, basically Adam Apicella and Esports Engine, which essentially for this conversation's sake is MLG 2.0. So the production side of the CDL this year might actually make sense from an esports standpoint, because prior to this they tried to run the CDL in like a spectator way from like a real world sports way, and those two worlds just don't mix well. So that's probably the biggest W takeaway from today's events, is that Adam Apicella and Esports Engine are going to be in charge of production and CDL event stuff. So in conclusion, I'm going to give day one of the CDL Kickoff Classic like a 7.1 out of 10. If I try to look at this objectively, like I'm a new viewer to Call of Duty esports, this was my first time ever watching a stream of Call of Duty esports. Honestly, it wasn't that bad. The matches weren't that exciting overall because it's just like the first few rounds of an actual tournament. Seattle versus London, not the best matchup to introduce people to Call of Duty to. LAT versus Paris, also not really the best match to introduce somebody to Call of Duty to, but at the same time, the overall production was pretty solid. The Boston versus New York match is a better telling of like what will happen tomorrow, or the day you guys are watching this, which is going to be day 2. The better teams are going to start to be playing the better teams. The matches should get more exciting in turn. So like if the new viewers to COD Esports that found the stream come back for day 2 after enjoying day 1, I feel like they'll have a better time. But if you guys have any thoughts on anything that happened during day 1 of the CDL Kickoff Classic, comment sections down below. If you guys have predictions heading forward for future majors, like how the season's gonna go, potential roster changes, again, comment sections down below. Please don't leave this video without leaving a like, commenting, subscribing, sharing with a friend if you have not already. Hope to get the video pushed out to more people. This outro has been very lengthy, so I'm gonna shut the hell up. I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Hope you have a great day. Peace.